Hey, welcome back to the RV Solar channel. My name's Shawn, and this right here is Bear. Yeah, how you doing, bud? And together, we install solar on RVs. We're doing looks like a Grand Design Momentum back there. Great big solar system, 2 Victron inverters, 24 volts, as much solar as we can put on there, probably on a rack, but you never know because we're going to discover this along with you. So stick along stick around. How about that? We'll figure it out together. So, yeah. All right, Bear, what are you going to be doing on this one? We're going to need a lot of help out of you. All right, we got shop door open. It's getting nice here in Minnesota, as you can tell. And let's see what we're going to put on here. We got a lot of Victron equipment, a lot of boxes. We're going to get to that. But first I'm going to show you how we're hoping to install everything. Or maybe not how, but where. That's going to be the challenging part. We've already gone through the trouble of undoing this little panel here, but there's a whole bunch of empty space behind here. We're hoping to actually fashion a board and some other stuff there. There's going to be some equipment here. There's probably going to be some equipment here. And we're going to have to figure this out. We love a challenge, and this is definitely one of them. Now for the batteries, we got some of these right here. We got some lead time, 24 volt. We were thinking about the Epics, but prices just shot up, as I'm sure a lot of you know. This is in 2025, and we're in a trade war with China, I guess. So, batteries have gone up in price, but these are still pretty affordable. We did get these purchased before the price increases. So, we're going to be putting those in there. As you can see, that's 230 times 4. Was that 920 amp hours or so? That's going to be going inside. I'll show you where that's going to be here. And the plan here is to put the batteries right inside the bed, and then we can just run those straight out into that compartment there. I think that'll work out pretty well. All right, so here is all the equipment we're going to be putting in here. We're doing 2 Victron MultiPlus Inverters, and these are not the 2s. We're going to be doing a split phase system, and there are some challenges with that. Because of the space on that compartment, we kind of had to choose these. These were going to fit best. So 6,000 VA of inverting power there. 24 volt system means we can run a single charge controller and one that's a little bit smaller for even, let's say, 2,000 watts of solar, which may end up there. We'll see. We'll see where that goes, or how much we get. We're going to be doing a DC-DC charging. That means a 12 to 24 volt step-up charger. I got the Serbo GX and the Orion step-down chargers. So for our 12 volt system, we got to step that voltage back down. We've got the shunt here, and then we got our Lynx distributor, and we're going to be modifying this like we do quite a bit. We just still do like to use the M8 variation of this for a couple of reasons, and we'll get into that later as we continue to build this out. But what I really wanted to talk about right here was kind of the planning. We've got to plan these systems out if we're going to do it right. And so we've taken a lot of time here. You can see some of these black lines here, where basically I mapped out how I think the compartment is going to lay out as far as panels and boards. So this represents the back panel here. You can see it's at that angle that we had in there. The generator is behind there. And then, oh, hold on. We got a visitor. We got Azuki. How are you doing, bud? This is a neighbor shop dog. And of course, this is our shop dog. And they're both trying to get some attention and snuggles. If you ever visit, you'll meet them both, probably. And they'll welcome you as well with their own special way. Bear's a little bit more barky, a little more excitable. But don't worry. Hey, boys, you be nice. All right, back to this. So we got our board here. That's what I think we're going to do there. But we can't probably even put it on a board. We're going to have to do like a couple. I don't know exactly how that's going to go together. But this is how I think things are going to have to lay out. Boys, we're trying to get some work done here. Then here's another board, and I'm thinking about we might actually just do this like as a single, and we should be able to lay all this out and get that on there without too much trouble, or get it into the compartment on a single board. Bear, he took a dustpan. Bear, stop. What are you doing? No! Why are you doing this? Takes a garbage or a dustpan. All right. And the other thing, as far as safety stuff goes, we got a 400 amp die-cooled double pole breaker, and then we're gonna have our solar breaker in there. And I'll review this real quick. For those of you who have been following our channel for a long time know that we love using these instead of the traditional disconnects. And it's a great time to talk about this. The reason why we like using these is, one, they are super stout and durable. The connections stay cool and they're resettable. So this is a equivalent, actually better than a Class T fuse for your battery. And we have to support 400 amps because it's a dual inverter system. But let's take a look at this here first, okay? Let's talk about what's good. Grand Design ran this really good 4-aught cabling from a single battery, okay? Whatever. But then check this out. 4-aught cabling to this disconnect switch. I guarantee you, this switch is not rated for probably much more than 150 to 200 amps. And if it's rated for it, I don't think it's going to actually sustain it. In this case, this disconnect, I guarantee you, is the fuse. We've seen so many of these kinds of switches burn up when you get a big inverter and it's really cooking. It's really using a lot of energy. We like to use these. They are much better, and we will be selling them on our website. But I think our plan is this may end up getting mounted here somewhere, maybe on the floor, something like that. We're going to try and keep our switches really accessible. A lot of this equipment's going to be going away, like that solar charger, this inverter. So we should end up with a lot of room in here. So as you can tell, we have a lot of work to do. So we better get to it. So as you can see, we've got a lot of work to do, but I've got some homework for you as well. If you can do a couple of things for us. Subscribe, that doesn't cost you anything, just a little bit of time, and if you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. Can't give you your time back, but I'll give you everything you paid for it back. Second of all, subscribe or share this video with somebody that you think might be interested in what we do, or this specific project, or RV solar in general. We do this for people. We also sell the systems and the components, or we'll just talk about your system too. We're nerds about this stuff. Love it. That's why we pretty much made our life revolve around it. We're kind of crazy. I live right there. This is all I do. And I'm having a good time. And I got a couple of my good friends helping me out. All right, time to get these boys to work. You boys ready? All right, go. Bear, you're not working. Go chase that ball. He's smart. He's a smart one. He's staying here for snuggles. All right. Oh, no. Oh, no. He wants to wrestle. We can't wrestle right now. All right, we got our real help here. The dogs help out a little bit, but this is my son Levi. He's also been helping us out on the channel, and he's learning all this stuff. So, woo. You can give him some advice in the comments if you'd like, or yeah, act normal. Oh, man. All right, we're continuing work on this Grand Design toy hauler, and we're getting the solar done here. We pulled off 2 panels that were back there because they were, if you've watched some of our other videos, they just take up way too much room. So to put this much solar on here, we got to get them off. So here's what we're doing. And as you can tell, we did get a haircut. And I say we because I got my son here. He got his haircut too. Look at him. Okay, so the way we have them wired up, and this is what Levi's done, hopefully. We got, how many panels here? 1, 2, 3. And there's going to be no. Do we have 4?
There's 4.
There are 4. Okay, never mind. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 panels here now. And we got 1, 2 there. We got 1 over there. And we got 1 more here.
Boom.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So the way we're planning on wiring them, and Levi and I discussed, and actually you did the thinking on this. Don't sell, you did. Don't sell yourself short.
Yep.
So what Levi decided to do is run these in sets of 2, and so 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's, we call that 2S, 2 in series, and then we run them in parallel. The reason why we do that is we can get up to 90 volts usually out of these. We got that set of 4. Put those 2 in series for another set. And we do that to avoid the shading that may happen from that air conditioner, or avoid the shading taking out other panels. And then we're going to put these 2 in series as well, which is not ideal, but we're trying to be practical about it. There's really no other way, being have an odd number of panels here and an odd number of panels there. We're going to have some panels on either side of the air conditioner. There's no way around it. Is there?
Nope.
Nope. So, anything you want to add? Any challenges that you faced? How you overcame them?
Roof.
The roof. Yeah, we really did think about doing this outside, but the weather's been all over the place, so we're continuing to work it inside. So, yeah.
We did?
I did.
We thought about it?
I did.
I didn't.
It was really nice yesterday. All right. All right, so Levi's he's gonna get work on wiring the rest of these up. There are multiple ports on this roof. There were 2 back there. There's 1 here. We're going to split them up, and then we're actually going to use those ports, and then we're going to combine them down below. I will explain how that is working. But Levi, I will leave you to this because you're doing a great job.
Booyakasha.
What does that mean even? A lot of us on this channel are not from your generation, so you're going to have to explain to us if you're the new kid lingo.
I don't know.
All right, now that we got solar going on up there, let's talk about how we're putting the equipment in here. And I've done quite a bit of work already. As you can tell, we've emptied all this out. I think this light is probably going to end up going, but for right now, I'm going to use it. We got our board put in here. We got that fiberglass backing on there, so that should be more fire retardant. And got our mains run for our AC cable here. We do this in the transfer switch. We'll just talk about that real quick, what we do. So what I do is I splice a new line here with these splices, and I cover them with heat shrink tube. That's what I've been doing lately. And we put it all in this box, so it's still protected in that box. And then I run a new line, that's what this is here, into the output of the transfer switch. So that is the one labeled control panel. So that's going to come out of here and then into our multipluses. And then out of the multiplus is this other line here, and that goes into that splice, and then that goes back into the panel to power it. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I think I'm ready to put the cover back on the transfer switch. My only concern here is with the 2 inverters here, and they're going to be on here in short order, it's going to be tough to access that cover. Not impossible, but tough. I don't like this. I just don't know of any other way to make this work. So as a lot of you know, one of our, I'd say, company mantras is keep it serviceable. If you can't service it, it just leads to problems. In this case, we're going to have to strike a balance here. If you got to access that transfer switch, the multiplus will probably have to come off, but it's not going to be too hard. For the most part, just 2 fasteners, and you should be able to pull it off and set it to the side. So hopefully that will work as intended. All right, you see it starting to come together? I am. There's a part in every project where it gets worse before it gets a lot better, and that's where we're at right now. Let me show you everything that's worse, and then later you can keep watching and you can see how it gets better. All right, here's our Victron compartment here, and boy, is it a mess. We got a lot of stuff, but the good news is our multipluses are working and programmed. We're pretty much having to do all the wiring in here. There wasn't really any way to get a board in here, so we're kind of working on that. But before we get into the details on that, I wanted to talk about running this HDMI and USB that we run so often. It has been a bear. We've got stuff torn apart down here. We managed to run it underneath the underbelly, up through the shower, and that's where we're at now. Levi, how you doing in there? He's lying down on the job. We're working after hours here a little bit. Oh, hey, look, there he is. He got it.
Oh my God.
So we've been using this inspection camera here. We had to come up through here, and somewhere there's some wires. You're gonna have to trust me. We went through here. Oh, careful. All right. We had to pull apart the kitchen cabinets here a little bit to get our HDMI and USB out there, and then we pulled the inspection camera through there, but I had to drive it pretty much to those water, or those vent tubes there from here. So from here I had to go down this wall, under this cabinet, and over there. It wasn't easy, but I got her done, and Levi pulled it the rest of the way. Nice job.
Thank you.
All right, let me tell you, this was not easy, but it's working. Customer wanted me to move the gauge up, so I did, and here it is. Here's the display working. We are currently charging, as you can see, quite a bit, and battery's getting close to full, so should be fully charged here in no time at all. Starting to put some things back together. It was a pain in the butt, like I said, running everything through that wall. Still got over here to put back together, but yeah, coming together. All right, this is a little different look, isn't it? Things are really coming together here, as you can tell, but we're not quite done. I want to talk about what we've done so far and give you a couple of points, tips, tricks, that sort of thing. Okay, so we got these wired up in split phase, both of these programmed. I may have a little bit more programming to do, actually, for the because when you're on 30 amp, what you have to do is program one of these to sync without the other one. By default, they want to sync together. So what that means is they need to see 240 volts, 50 amp shore power for them to connect to grid. If they don't see that, they won't. Like if they only see 30 amp, which is 120 only, the other inverter says, well, I don't have power, so we can't make this work. So yeah, there's a checkbox in VE configure where you say don't switch as group, I think is what it is, and then it'll allow one to switch individually, which is what we're going to want to do, which is related to the other thing we may have to do, and that has to do with the generator over here, and right over there we may have to join, or not join, but move L2 to the L1 position. The reason for that is, and I need to check, the reason why we got to do that is the generator likely puts out two legs of 120, which while those are L1 and L2, when you measure across them, you're going to get 0 volts. And it's not going to know what to do with that. So what you have to do is basically give it, I'd call it super 30 amp, where you put the output of the generator only to the 30 amp side, or to L1 side rather. This sees that as just a single leg. This inverter, which is our primary, it will switch over to grid and start, or shore, generator, whatever, and start charging. This one will continue to stay on invert mode and create L2 internally in the coach from battery. And where it gets kind of tricky is what actually ends up happening is this is both a charger, right, and it's passing it through. So this creates DC energy, and it goes into this inverter. So I like to use this term, it synthetically creates leg 2 from a 30 amp system. So that's what we're going to do, or that's what I think is going to happen. We're going to get it outside so we can run the generator to fully test that. And as you can see, we can get in here to adjust that, or get into the transfer switch. It's not easy, but I tried to make it as accessible as I could. So, all right, we got more here. Obviously, we got a big disconnect here. That's looking good. We got the switch relocated for the lights out front. You see that? You gotta have those lights there. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know, but the switch is there, so we're gonna keep that on there. Got our tire link dongle docking port there. So we got that on there. We use just raceway to mount that to and to tuck all those wires away. What else we got? I got a cover on the solar breaker to take care of. And we ended up just running, this actually has 2 solar ports up top. And what we did was we ran both positives and both negatives into this breaker, and then ran that out to the solar controller. I don't know, I thought that was a good way to do it, rather than running it all through one wire, since there was 2 wires up there. Now, we could have done 2 controllers, but as you can tell, there's not a lot of extra room in here to do that. And if we wanted to, we could add 1 extra smaller controller in the future, or if the customer so desired. It's pretty much set up to do that without much trouble. What else we got here? Okay, Lynx is going with its little light. The shunt is there. We ended up putting a box there for that's where the old inverter connection was. And then this is probably what I'm most excited for, is our cooling fan situation. What's better? Do we suck out the hot air? And that's why I have this tube up here. I want to pull the hot air down. I don't want to have just the fan here because that's just going to suck the colder air. Now, in a grand scheme of things, I don't know if it was really going to matter, but if we're going to do it, let's do it better at least. My other thought was to put a fan here, but then my concern was, okay, how am I going to drill that fan? And do I really want this fan with all this other stuff here? And I was like, I don't think so. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do there. And I do think there is some drafts that come from this area, back behind the generator and whatnot. So my thought is, if I just get rid of the hot air here, I think it'll maintain itself. We'll see. I may end up having to add a intake fan, or an intake port, but that's going to come through testing. So stick around for that if you want to see how this tests out. I do intend on doing that on the channel or on the video today. The next thing we want to talk about is, because this is a 24 volt system, we are taking 24 volts in and we're spinning 12 volts out. And that goes to the existing coach system. And along with that, we did keep the 12 volt battery in place. I like to have that because that runs the slides, and more importantly, it runs your trailer brakes. So pretty much we just tied back into that system and we let that battery do its thing. The other thing is we got the tow vehicle charging, the Orion 12 to 24 step up converter. And we're going to put an Anderson connector out front for that. I've got the positive run, just got to run the negative yet. So, and lastly, on programming this thermostat, so we're using a thermostat on this one, in part because I know this compartment's going to get so hot, and it might not even because these are working really hard. So that's why we're doing a thermostat. And how we test that and how we program it is, you have to set your start temperature higher than your stop temperature. So basically there's a range of temperatures, and I have this one set to 29 is when the fan turns on, and it turns off at 24. That's Celsius. So I'm going to warm this up. I'm just going to hold it with my hand, and then we'll turn it on, and then you'll see how it turns off. All right, so just turned on. I warmed it up with my hand at 29, and now it's going to cool, and it's going to run until, and 29 I want to say is about 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And 24 is less than that. I don't know. Okay, it should be turning off here. Right there. So, that's the way that works. So, yeah. I'm going to get the Anderson connector going, and then hopefully we can pull this thing out. Alright, we got it out here in the sunshine. That means we're almost wrapped up here. We're just doing some tests. And, going to start with the air conditioning test. That's running right now. It's not that warm out, but it's working pretty good. Actually, we had more solar. I think the issue is, yeah, the solar's actually working too good because it's kind of like in float mode at the moment. And the solar's doing pretty good. I've seen as much as 1400 watts. It's bouncing around, just trying to figure out where it wants to be, I guess. And that's one of the things that the MPP charge controllers will do. There it goes. That's real nice this time of year. Out of 2000 watts, that pretty much means that we can run an air conditioner 100% off solar. Well, I had to put that accessibility to the test here, and it worked out okay with an Epic battery to hold up the inverter. I was just able to 2 screws, pop it off, and set it right there, because I did have to move the generator wire L2 to L1 because it's a 120 two-phase generator, or not two-phase, 2 legs of 120, not true 240. So gotta do that, and then I gotta adjust the setting on the MultiPluses here. I'll show you that here in a second. This is the setting I'm talking about that you have to adjust in VE Bus System Configurator. Let's be nice and focused. And we do that, and then we, I think we just send Yes, or no, we send the configuration. Right? Let's go give her a try. Start up the generator and see if it'll sync. Alright, looks like it switched. So you can see what's going on here is inverter 1 here is mains on and bulk, and this one is just inverter only. You can see, and yeah, we did switch over there, so that's good. So from all of us here at Soda Solar, myself, Shawn, Bear, you see him in the videos, my son Levi, JD down in Quartzsite, and all the cast of characters that you've come to know and love. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you. Give a like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube stuff, and we will see you next time doing whatever it is that we're doing. All right? Thank you. Bye.